Ant is looking to bring a title to the Timberwolves for the first time in franchise history. ESPN Bet has this series favored slightly towards the T-Wolves, who are the second favorites to win the championship behind the Celtics. Minnesota won the regular season series 3-1, but Kyrie Irving didn't play in the 3 losses, and Luka Doncic was out for 2 of them. All right, S.A., who do you have representing the West in the NBA Finals?
Right now, I would have to, me personally, I want to give the edge to the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think their defense at times has been sensational, unlike anything that I've seen in the last 30 years, Austin. That's where I'm coming from with it. I look at Game 2 of that first half against Denver. I look at the third quarter, the second half in Game 7 in Denver. I saw these brothers look like piranhas, for crying out loud. They were all over the place. Now, I know the greatness of Kyrie Irving. He's going to be somebody that I'm keeping my eyes on because I can't say enough about the job that Kyrie Irving has done this year. He's looked absolutely sensational. And it's not like, in terms of his averages or anything like that. He's been a leader, doggy, and he's been one of those dudes that's been on the court. Okay, here, P.J. Washington, let's get you going. Here, Derrick Jones, let's get you going. Him and Luka throwing alley-oops and all of this other stuff. Here you go. Luka, get your stuff going. I know you hurt. I know you don't feel it well right now. Work through it. Do what you got to do. Here's the ball. Oh, I only got 2 or 4 points in the first half. They got a lead. Let me end this. Let me end this drama right now. Give me the damn ball. It's time for me to take over. This is what Kyrie Irving has done. And by the way, he's been playing defense as well, exceptional defense, and we got to give credit where credit is due. So we can't ignore what he and Luka can bring to the table, especially since Luka averaged about 35 against Minnesota this year. He's big at 6'7". He's strong. Chris Paul, CP3 was telling us that last night. He's so much stronger than people realize. All of those things are going to be needed against Minnesota. My deal with Minnesota is that what you've seen Dallas do against the other teams, particularly a guy like Gafford, who I think has been a welcomed addition to the squad, along with P.J. Washington balling the way that he has been balling. I'm looking at Minnesota, and Minnesota has size at every single position other than the point guard spot with Mike Conley Jr. And then I'm looking at the steady hand that he is, some of the plays that he was making, some of the clutch shots that he was making. And I just say to myself, defensively, that's going to determine this series. And as good as Dallas has been defensively, because Jason Kidd's got them playing some defense, I'm going to repeat what I said earlier. There have been moments in these playoffs. I haven't seen anybody play defense like I saw Minnesota play defense in 30 years. And if Kyrie, the ultimate finisher at the basket for a small guy, I'm just looking at those trees in Minnesota, and I'm saying to myself, okay, how's that going to be in this particular series? I don't know. Dallas is no joke. Wouldn't surprise me if they won. But if I got to pick between the two right now, I'm of the mindset that it's Minnesota.
Well, I'll tell you, Steve's got the Timberwolves out to be the 89 Pistons. Can we take it easy with their defense, for crying out loud?
Their defense is pretty
I understand, but
good.
I mean, this is a guy.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong, Dougie?
He is, Austin, I did this 2 weeks ago. Minnesota won Game 1. They're going to win a championship. Last Wednesday, they were down 3-2. He had Denver winning a championship because that was before Game 6.
That's
that
false.
is true.
You just lied. You just lied to the American public.
I did not. He loved Minnesota last. He loved Denver last week when he had 3-2 in that series.
First of all, I had them winning the championship after Game 2, not Game 1, because I talked about their defense in Game 2. That's number one. And number two, I said I was going down with the ship. Even after they had lost 3 straight, I picked Minnesota to win the series. We have it on tape.
And then he got a little gun-shy, but he did stick with Minnesota. I got to be fair here.
He got
stuck with Minnesota.
And now he loves them again. Listen, it's a dead-even series. I'm not going to – we know that. I'm going to take Dallas, and I'm going to take Dallas because I don't know if that's going to bother Doncic what Minnesota does defensively, because he's all about physicality. How do you pronounce his name?
Doncic.
It
is the best that I love that you don't know anyone's name.
Well, Legler was telling me this yesterday on the radio. He made a great point. He says speed, physicality is not going to, he's so big and strong, he's going to get a shot off anytime he wants anyway. The way Minnesota plays defense, this is what Legler said. He's the expert, Austin, him too. Didn't think it was going to hurt Doncic at all in this series. And here's another reason why I like him. They got 2 scorers. When they have to have that second basket and somebody has to break, and as he did against Oklahoma City on Saturday night, Kyrie can put the ball in the basket. We saw him win a championship in Game 7 in Golden State. Who, if Anthony Edwards is a little off. Now, he was off the other night, 6 for 24, and they still won.
Yep.
But if you get down to those last 5 minutes, who are you going to count on? Karl Anthony Towns to make a three? Naz Reid? I like I like Dallas's two guards when games get tight to find a way to score. So I'm going to now it's close. I'll take him in 7 games.
Your thoughts on that?
Oh, I'm taking Minnesota, absolutely.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, absolutely. For one, speed does not speed up Luka, but length does. That doesn't speed him up, but it challenges him.
Wait, say that again. I missed it. You said
speed doesn't bother him, but length can definitely affect him. Jaden McDaniels guards Luka Doncic better than anybody in the NBA. It's like I think it's almost like a proven stat. He guards him better than anybody else in the NBA. That's going to be his sole assignment. Ant and Nickeil Alexander are going to take turns switching off on guarding Kyrie. Not an easy assignment. They have size at the rim. They got rim protection. They got good on-the-ball perimeter defense, and they have the #1 overall defense in the NBA. Dallas is a non-defending team. They're playing better defense right now. Obviously, it's the playoffs, you hope. But if we're talking about a 7-game series of which team I have more confidence in, I have to go to the team that plays on both sides of the ball. To piggyback on that, depth is a problem. You just alluded to it. He was 6 for 24 in a Game 7 versus the best team in the NBA.
And they won.
And they won that game
Yeah.
because Naz Reid can hit the open threes, sixth man of the year. Michael Conley is a proven vet who can score and hit big shots. Nickeil Alexander is a non-talked about role player who has a huge impact on their team. They have guy after guy after guy after guy who can step up and make plays. Pass, swing pass. They went from good pass to better pass, good shot to great shot. That's growth from a young team and from your young best player as a star. I have them winning the series for sure. Yeah. 6
Stephen A?
games.
6.
Well, listen. I got to tell you something right now. It's been a long time since I've looked forward to a series this much. I mean, Ant-Man and the spectacular talent that he has shown himself to be, along with, the bravado that comes with it. Because, I mean, Austin, you saw him. Doggy, you saw him. He wins Game 7 in Denver. By the way, they won Games 1, 2, and 7 in Denver. Beat the reigning defending NBA champions 3 times on their home court in a series. That's something that we can't sneeze at. But to go out there and to ultimately win that game and then know you're going up against Dallas next. And what were his words? Oh, yeah, I got Kyrie. I mean, that's the guy you call out?
Exactly.
That's
And
the
you
guy?
know what?
I love it.
Think about this. When we talk about depth for each team, Karl Anthony Towns gets his 5th foul. On any other team, you'd be worried that your second best player is in foul trouble. But no, they keep pushing because why? They got Naz Reid coming off the bench. Now, if the same situation happened for Dallas and their second best player, Kyrie Irving, got hurt, you're in trouble. Okay, they're a little bit more vulnerable. They're vulnerable from the depth standpoint. We have to rely on P.J. Washington, Derrick Jones Jr. Again, both of them have played fantastic in the playoffs. Shout out to both of those guys. But these are guys who are in new roles in terms of being that counted on to perform at a high level, not just on defense, but offense. Derrick Jones and P.J. have to score the ball. It can't just be these 2 guards up top doing all the heavy lifting. And they're going to have to rely on these guys because I'm telling you, the defense that's about to be played on them. Luka, they are going to force him to finish inside the basket. They're going to try to run him off the 3. They know he wants to go left and do a step back. I just remember the planning last year being in Minnesota. When we played Dallas, we played them very well, particularly because Jaden guards Luka better than anybody else in the NBA. It'll be interesting to see the adjustments made by Dallas.
Well, let's look at it this way. Let's say Luka and Anthony Edwards are a wash. I think that's fair to say.
Okay, yeah.
Let's say they're a wash.
Okay.
Who is the next best player in this?
It's a good point. Kyrie Irving's the next best player.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the next best player.
But the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th is all Minnesota.
Probably right.
That's my thing.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Now listen, P.J. Washington's played really well.
He has.
Had a great 4th quarter against Oklahoma City. Made his free throws.
Yep.
Makes threes. Yep. And if you look at Minnesota's offense in the 4th quarter the other day in Game 7, Gobert had like 8 points. He flipped up a 3-point shot that is out of nowhere. He made his free throws, and Naz Reid made a huge 3. And Naz Reid made big baskets in the earlier game in Denver. Is he going to do that again with the money on the line in a big spot? He's going to sit out there and he's going to score 12 to 14 points if they're not getting it from Anthony Edwards. And let's say Luka and Rivers score. Luka and
I like Rivers.
Kyrie score. Get you in there.
Yeah.
Score 60 points. Can we assume 55 to 60 points between the two of them, Irving and Luka?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair.
We're going to give Anthony Edwards 30, right? They got to get those 30 extra points somewhere.
I think Jaden McDaniels, they got plenty of guys who can score the ball.
Well,
Jaden McDaniels
McDaniels-
averaged like 20 versus Phoenix.
He was terrible in game.
Yeah,
He
it's
was
all
terrible.
matchups. It's all matchups. So who's going to be guarding Jaden in this series? It's going to be Luka. You can't put him on Ant. You're not going to put him on Michael Conley running around.
No, definitely not.
He's
You
going
have
to
to
end
put
up
him on
guarding
him.
Jaden. That's what I'm saying. He has a matchup that he could probably take advantage of possibly. They could garner points from somewhere else. They got too much. They have way more depth than Dallas.
I will say this: Kyrie and Luka Doncic are shot makers. Sometimes Minnesota is not.
Yep.
And so what's going to have to be consistent, at least for 4 games, that is that defense. There are times when Minnesota is hitting shots, it's something to behold because it inspires them and amps up their defense even more, and we get that. My issue is sometimes the Jaden McDaniels of the world, the Nas Reeds of the world, and others ain't hitting no shots. And if that, even Anthony Edwards to some degree, ain't hitting no shots. And if that's the case, you better be able to rely on your defense because let me tell you something. You're going to have to stop with Kyrie and Luka this close to an NBA Finals berth. You got to stop them.
But
they're not going to stop themselves. They're coming. And Minnesota had better be ready.
Last word here.
No, I said, but that's the point. It's the fact that if they aren't making shots, they have the ability to at least rely on their defense.
They have a plan B.
They have a plan B. Whereas if Dallas isn't making shots, the game is lost. They're not winning that game. That's my only concern with Dallas.
Yeah. More in the arsenal when you're talking about Minnesota.
Slimmer margin of error.
Yeah.
Minnesota's favored by 4.5 points tonight. That game is at 8:30 Eastern.
game.
Can't wait.